My name's Ryan Shelton. I'm a co-host on the Imperfects, the Jewish grandson of Austrian and English immigrants. And I grew up on and am now currently living on Wurundjeri country. I'd like to recognise the traditional peoples of this continent whose land was stolen nearly 250 years ago. In particular, we at the Imperfects would like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation as the traditional owners of the land on which this podcast was recorded, and we extend our respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. The rich storytelling history of the world's oldest living culture is what we proudly pay homage to when we share stories on the Imperfects.
The Imperfects invites you into a very safe place. A place where we share without judgment and drink heaps and heaps of vulnerability. Grab yourself a cup. This is the Vulnerabilitea House.
Actually, can I hold that?
The pen?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just pictured myself holding it while I was talking, and I don't know why I feel like I need it.
Okay, well, it was, sorry for everyone, there was a pen on the table, I put it on the ground, and Hugh simply couldn't go another second without the pen in his hand.
I don't know why.
That's
It's like a security thing.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is
And now Josh has walked off, so what a start.
It's one of the most shocking starts of the year. Terrible start.
Sorry, guys. Just wasn't sure if the cameras were recording. They are.
No,
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is our last regular Monday episode of the year, which is sad. Here.
There's a. I haven't heard you say that ever before.
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I very rarely say it.
Yeah.
It's only at like football club functions. Here.
Or political debates.
Yeah, political debates. I'm big on the here. Yeah.
But an appropriate one, because this is our last episode of the year, and I guess now is a good time to thank everyone for their
Here.
for their support, and it's a wonderful thing that we get to do, and it's it wouldn't happen without. Well, it would happen without our supporters, but
Not well.
No. So thank you for your.
You're talking about
listeners.
the people listening?
Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's unbelievable. People listen to this.
it is.
Thank you very much. Makes us feel good.
We clearly hadn't planned out that thank you, but thank you, everyone. We really appreciate it.
Yep. No, thank you, definitely. So as you may well know, the last 2 weeks we have done 2 vulnerability houses with just the 3 of us. So Josh, you were last week.
Yeah.
Lovely. So great.
Oh, thanks. It's always you talk about a vulnerability hangover. It's a weird that you do feel a bit afterwards, like,
definitely.
that feels. Hangover is the best way to describe it, I think.
Yeah. Should I have shared all that?
Yeah, did I go too far? No, it felt great to talk about that.
You definitely should have. I'm glad you did.
Oh, great.
Well, I've already got one. I haven't even bloody done mine yet. So
You've got an anticipatory hangover.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think so.
So Hugh, I was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Josh was last night. Hugh, you're rounding it out.
I do feel, I don't know if pressure is the right word, but I certainly am aware that both of you, they're just terrific. But what you shared was, it's both tough acts to follow. I just feel like it's a privilege to sit here and listen to you both talk. So I am aware that you've set quite a high bar.
Oh, there's no pressure. We don't know what card's going to get drawn.
And
Very
whatever
true.
you say is
Is
vulnerable.
okay.
That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
Not a competition.
We don't have to rank them afterwards, but I mean, people might, and so just keep that
Do
in
an
mind.
Instagram poll.
Yeah, keep that in mind as you draw a card.
Okay, so I'll get right into it. So 3 cards from the top of the bluey card deck.
Yep.
Okay, card number 1. Who from your past do you think about a lot?
That's a good question. I don't think we've had that one before.
No.
Who from your past do you think about a lot? Gee, that's a good one.
2, when did you last cry and why?
Great.
Okay.
I don't know if we've had that one either.
No. And number 3, what do you see when you look in the mirror? Well, I've drawn that before.
Yeah, I think you have.
I've had that before.
Yeah.
So maybe
And that was a weird episode because you just said Hugh van Cuylenburg.
short.
It was a short one.
Yeah. Okay, well, I've
The
done
guy
that
from the
one.
Resilience Project. That's what you said.
Who from your past do you think about a lot?
So you're cancelling out the one you've done before?
Yeah. Well, actually,
Do it again.
No, actually, I do have an answer for the other two.
When did you last cry and why?
Yeah, but I do feel like we've talked about this a bit off like the mics before, but like we don't want to, if people are trying this at home, we don't want them, because we are actually in the process now we've just started to create our own version of this so people can do it at home. We're creating vulnerability cards for people, which we'll have out next year at some point. And one of the things we're worried about was we don't want people to be jump into answering questions that are too difficult or too traumatic or be too triggering for them in front of people. I don't feel ready, to be really honest, to answer either of those two questions.
Yeah, okay.
Especially when did you last cry and why. Who do you think about from your past? I think I need more time to think about how to answer that question properly.
Yep.
I do actually, funnily enough, I did answer this question, what do you see when you look in the mirror? I think it was in season...
It was early, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe season 2.
Maybe season 2. And the answer was, and it's funny, we talked about vulnerability hangovers. I still feel funny about the fact I answered that. When I chat to people and they say, listen to the podcast, I often wonder if they listen to that episode and if they know that I was really stressed for quite some time back then about like my abs or my stomach or like what I look like. That became a bit of an obsession for me for a while. But I think I'm going to answer this question again. I'll give a different answer.
That's good.
Great.
Because the answer's actually changed, and it's just changed this year, maybe even the second half of this year. So when I look in the mirror, I actually see like, there's a really, when I look in the mirror, I actually see an old man.
Oh.
For the first time in my life, I see a much older version of myself that and it's just this year I've noticed it. Like I'm aware that I've been in my 40s for a couple of years now.
But that's not an old man.
No, but I've never felt...
Oh, it's on the way.
So I should say I don't see an old man, but I see an aging... I don't. Okay, here's a better answer. I don't see a young person anymore when I look in the mirror, and that's just happened this year. I don't see a young person, and I think, aging is something that probably people think about, and we subconsciously we look in the mirror, we try and make ourselves look as young as possible, but it's never really been in my mind until this year. I think a few things have happened. The main thing has happened. Just what I look like has changed this year a lot, but. Earlier this year, a couple of things happened. So earlier in this year, so you guys know I race every Saturday. I race in either 200s or 400s in athletics.
I didn't know that. Every Saturday you race?
In the summer, yeah, every Saturday.
In the summer.
Yeah. So from October through to March, there's races every Saturday.
God.
And I love doing it. There are no age groups though. You just race. You race according to your time. So you'll see.
Yeah.
So if you run a certain time, you run against people who also run a similar time. It's not based on age groups.
Mm-hmm.
And in March early this year, I was standing around in the marshalling area waiting to find out which heat you're in. And I'm standing with a group of guys, and they're always heaps younger. And a guy said, I overheard him say, I think the old guy's in our race. And I kind of looked around my shoulder thinking, fuck, please be an old man around here somewhere. Please don't be me. And I was clearly the oldest person there. And sure enough, it was me. I was in his race. And I was like, oh, okay. Shit, maybe I do. I don't think I look old though. And I was thinking to myself, I'm standing there the whole time, I don't think I look old. But then I was reflecting on the next couple of weeks. I was like, no, I was literally more than twice this kid's age. So of course I was the old man in his race. Like he was 19, 20 years old.
When I was that age, someone who was 40 was like, hey, yeah, that's like, you may as well just like retire, mate. Like, nothing else to do now. 40.
Yeah, exactly. So that wasn't a huge, I didn't get too hurt or upset about that. It was just it's like, oh gosh, okay, maybe I'm viewed. What was that? Did I beat him? Yeah, I did. Yep.
I didn't hear the question. So you did beat him. So let's deep dive now.
I did, pretty easily. But anyway,
what was their time? What's their time?
Much slower than mine. But anyway, I'd love to see him still racing at my age. But anyway, that's in all seriousness, it didn't affect me too much, that comment.
Doesn't sound like it.
It didn't affect you too much?
No, not on
It's just water off a duck's back.
It's the sole answer to what do you see when you look in the mirror. So I would debate whether you think about it much. But no, I understand. I'd be the same.
Yeah, I beat him comfortably. But anyway, well,
Is there video of this? Like, I feel like you're about to reveal a highlights package of young guy Van Cuylenburg.
Anyway, so a few months after that, I'm on the phone. I had a FaceTime conversation with a couple who I've known for a really, really long time. And the guy in this relationship is not overly adept with technology and it always makes me laugh. I mean, I'm not great, but he's really bad.
Yeah.
To the point when we finished the FaceTime conversation, he goes, okay, see him. In fact, quite often if I FaceTime this person, it's not uncommon for them, I just see their ear because they're just holding up to their ear. And I go, mate, it's FaceTime. I can see it. And he goes, good, mate, how are you? Like that. Anyway.
So good.
So I have this conversation on FaceTime with this couple, and as the conversation finishes, he doesn't know how to hang up, or he thinks he has hung up. And I went, see you guys, see you later. And then the phone's just staring up at the ceiling. His partner said, gee, Hugh's looking old.
What?
Yeah. And I went, oh gosh, okay. And I had noticed this year, like in photos of myself, I'm like, gosh, I definitely am looking, for the first time in my life, I feel like I don't look young anymore. And to the point where even it's quite funny, but so we do a lot of work at the Resilience Project with Mecca Cosmetics, the cosmetic brand. I think most people know Mecca. In fact, 5 or 6 years ago, they got me to come and speak to all their staff, and I just had the best time and loved it so much. We developed quite a great relationship, and I go and speak to their staff every year and all this ongoing stuff, and become good friends with Julia, who works here. I don't know what her role is, but she seems quite high up. And
you seem really close. Develop this relationship with this woman. I don't know what she does. I have no idea.
Yeah. Anyway,
she knows about my time against the kid on the track. I'll tell you right now. I've definitely told her that.
First person
wouldn't have a clue what she does.
You're a great person, Julia. And I actually, so we're doing photos for. I had to do a social media video, do a social media video, and I noticed as I was doing the video, I watched it back. I was like, gosh, I do look a lot older this year. Like I've never felt that before, but I do look a lot older, to the point where I did it again to try and get better light. I've never done that before, ever. I just do the video, put it up. I never once cared about what I look like.
The vanity of it, yeah.
But I did it like 3 or 4 times trying to get a light where I didn't look as old. I was like, I can't, there's nothing, no light's helping me here. I just look much older. And so I actually messaged Julia and said, hey, do you reckon, I've never done skincare in my entire life ever. 42, like never even.
Moisturiser and things like that.
Yeah, never thought about
never
that.
Use moisturiser?
No, never.
Yep, no, neither. That's sort of shit. I just sort of throw a pint of beer in my face every morning. That's me.
And so I messaged Julia and said, hey, do you reckon it'd be possible to, I'm not looking for a freebie yet. The Mecca are really kind. Whenever I go and do a talk for them, they give me this huge pack of stuff for penny. It's very clever, really, because Penny's like, have you done a talk for Mecca recently? Go and do a talk for Mecca. They give us this free pack of stuff, which is for penny.
Genius.
Mecca products are incredible. Anyway, I said, do you reckon, would it be possible to get just like some skincare products so I can look after my skin for the first time in my life? And she's like, yeah, definitely. And I said, I don't want freebies. I'll just pay. It's totally fine. But just tell me a few products I should be using to maybe just, so I don't look as old as I currently look. She goes, yep, no worries, we'll sort you out. That's totally fine. She said, tell me which store you want to go to. We'll have a pack waiting there for you. We've got a great skincare specialist. She'll know what to do for you. And I arrived at Mecca in Campbell, and the girls are quite excited that I was coming out there just because I work with them a lot and do a lot of presentations for them.
Yeah, they'd be stoked.
And they prepared this pack
Hugh van
for me.
Cuylenburg's coming.
No, not like that. Just anyway, I go in there. The lady came out. This girl came out and said, "Oh, I'm going to give you a facial." And I went, "Oh," I was a little bit self-conscious about going to. There's a lot of people in the store, and I went, no, I don't need that. I'm after the products. If we do the products, and then like I sort of wanted to get in and out quickly, not sit there and have someone do facial stuff, whatever. I don't know what happens for them, but anyway, she brings out this box of stuff and talks me through all the products. There's about 5 products in there. You do this, you do that. And I went, yep, great, no worries. And she went, okay, that's, do you know what, we'll actually give you, we will give you a staff discount. And I went, okay, that'll be nice. I'll take a staff discount. So she goes, okay, so that'll be $9.10.
Oh, excuse me.
And I thought,
that seems cheap. $9.10.
Yeah, well, I did. I was like, well,
no,
I've got a discount.
Didn't.
I've got a discount. There's 4 or 5 products in here. I've never bought skincare products before. I don't know how much this stuff costs. I'm guessing, like.
Hang on.
$910.
So I went 19, or maybe she mentioned 91 and she just said 9.10 because she's just like, I think it's probably most likely 91, but it could be $9.10. I don't.
$9.10 with discount.
So she says, there you go. And she put the EFTPOS machine in front of me and it was $910 for 4 or 5 products. And
I can't understand this.
I was so shocked.
For how many products?
4 or 5. Maybe not even that. Maybe it was 3 or 4 products.
Wow.
So I went, yeah, okay. And I'm thinking, I don't want to show my ignorance and be really ungrateful for a 40% discount and go, that's way too expensive.
40% discount and it was $9.10.
So I panicked massively and I went, okay. And I put my phone in front of it to tap and go. But I'm thinking, please don't be enough money on this card so I can go, I don't have, like. So I tapped it and I was like, oh, shit, it's gone through. Like, I've just $910.
Oh my, hang on, something's gone wrong. There must be an explanation for this.
I got in the car and I looked at the receipt and I went, oh my God, this actually cost $900. And I was like, is this how much skincare?
No.
No wonder Penny's so grateful whenever I give her free products. This is unbelievable. I didn't know
they must have
so much
given
money.
you the gold standard of skincare.
Well, I called Penny and she nearly fell off her chair. She goes, $910. What have you, look at the receipt. So I get the receipt out. I have paid one of the products cost $772.
But is that what it's supposed to cost, or do they make a mistake?
Yes. No, that's what it was supposed to cost. So
I don't understand. I don't even understand what's happening. How can something cost? I mean,
I'm assuming it's a cream or an oil.
Here's the product. Here's the product.
God's piss. I can't think of what else would be that expensive.
They gave me Celestial Black Diamond Serum, $772 with a 40% discount. Then they gave me Celestial Black Diamond Eye, and then it's cut off, I'm guessing, eye cream, $366.
Is this to reverse the 40-something years of doing nothing? Like you have to use Celestial.
I hope that I'd use it and automatically look 15. Like that's the only thing I could imagine.
Hang on. So this product, 40% off, is $772.
No, I've just done the maths on it. I've realised this is before the discount. So $772.
Okay. Yeah. Still.
Then it's $366 for the other one, $109 for the other, $42 for the other, $229 for the next one, and then you get then I got $607 off, and it cost me. Is there any point where they said this one is $700? No, well, so someone from the store had organised it for me, like more of a senior staff member, and the younger girls had to do the transaction, so they looked a little bit awkward. I panicked. I was like, I don't want to look ungrateful, so I'm just going to get this. And then I felt so awkward, and they looked awkward, and I went, okay, there we go. And I went, okay, $910, cool. Penny had a mild heart attack. She couldn't believe it. And I went, okay, so that's
mild.
Weird, is it? And she goes, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And I called Julia straight away and said, oh, okay. She goes, how'd you go? How was it? You wrapped with the products? And I went, You got
all my money. Well done.
I said, I'm so happy. Thank you so much. I just love this. But I did just pay $910. Is that kind of... And she laughed so much. She goes, I am so sorry. What did they give you? And I said, Celestial Black Diamond Serum. She goes, I reckon we've got like one of those in Australia. That's like our most amazing. She goes, I'm so sorry. And I said, who thought I'd want to pay that? She goes, I don't know. But they've just misread a little bit. It's totally fine. Please don't take it back.
This is the most bizarre thing I've ever heard.
So I didn't want to take it back to that store because I was just embarrassed to go back in with the black diamond, gold diamond crusted, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I ended up paying much less. But anyway, so to come back to the question, quite a few years ago, I had my 20-year reunion for school. And I remember going there. I remember for the first time in my life, I remember being struck by the fact that people my age now look a lot older. I've never felt it before.
Yeah.
Even at our 15-year, 20-year, 10-year reunion, I remember thinking, yeah, I know we're getting on a bit, but no one really looks. We still look the same as we did at school. We still look the same. There's no. But at our 20-year reunion, I remember thinking, wow, there's some people here looking a lot older, But I enjoyed I remember feeling like a lot of people said to me, you don't look any different to you did when you finished that last over. You don't look any different. And for a long time, I played cricket at Cricket Club where I was the oldest person by a long stretch, but I never looked heaps older. I sort of enjoyed the fact that, I'm still fit in. Age 42, I don't know if it's because I've now had 3 kids. I just look, I don't, it's a really, this is what I'm struggling with. It's not that I don't want to look older. Well, I guess that's maybe part of it. But I feel this huge separation, but there's a separation between the young version of me feels like a different person now. Like it feels like it doesn't feel like it was me anymore. I look back on my younger years now and I've never felt that ever before. So I miss that. Like I miss.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll never go back to that. I'll never.
You gave back the cream, so
That was your one chance.
And so it's just this weird thing now. Like I never thought it would be something that I ever care about or worry about, or I sort of like the fact that I'm like, I think I'll always kind of look a bit younger than I am, or I think I'll always not really care. But I've noticed that I am like, I look in the mirror and I go, like you, this looks like a tired sort of older person, and I don't like that. And
do you feel it as well as because that a few people have said it. Maybe it's put it in your head, and you reckon you look it. But do you feel? No,
I mean the irony, and maybe it's why I'm going so berserk with fitness stuff. I've never been fitter in my entire life, so I don't feel that. I think emotionally, I feel quite weathered, and I feel quite drained from. I think anyone who's got 3 young kids will probably relate to that feeling of like. At the end of you get to the end of every single day and you think, oh, I've got absolutely nothing left to give. Like I couldn't be more exhausted. But then one of the kids will wake up and you have nothing left to give, but then you have to go again and then you'll be up at 5 a.m. having not rested. So I understand why I've kind of aged a lot in the last year, but I've found myself mourning this, I don't know. It makes me quite sad to think that identity, or not identity, but I just see an older person I don't want to yet.
Yeah.
I think in my head for some reason I thought when I get to 50 then I'll accept the fact that I'm an older person now. But I see it and I feel this, it makes me sad that the younger version of myself is just, it's a memory now. It's not, it doesn't really feel like it's me anymore. And this is the other thing I'm very aware of. Like my identity has never been based around what I look like ever. Like I've never... we joke about, there's a lot of jokes in my show about what I look like, not being, compared to Josh, not the best looking person in the world, but I am seriously quite fine with it. I've always been quite fine with what I look like. I've never had issues around that. And I guess it's really made me think about, for men and women, this must be really hard for women and something women must go through more acutely, because I think for a long time, people comment on what women look like. Like we're always commenting on, even someone like Julia Gillard is doing something as important as running the country. People will comment on what she's wearing before what she says, in Parliament. And this is the experience for all women. I'm experiencing this right now with our daughter when she gets changed and she wants to know how she looks. Yeah. As opposed to when Benji gets changed in the morning. And I don't say, you look beautiful, mate. I just go, there's your clothes, there's your T-shirt, there's your shorts, can't find my shoes, doesn't matter, off you go. Elsie, you look so amazing. Yeah. So I think we're constantly commenting on the way women look. So for me to feel like I'm quite sad that I don't look as young as I used to and not enjoying the fact that I'm now looking older, and yet my identity or my self-worth has never, ever been tied up with what I look like, it's made me realise for the first time it must be really hard to be, I'm going to say a female, but I guess anyone whose identity has been tied up in what they look like. Yeah. And so
it's really tough, for me.
When that's what you're known for.
Yeah.
And so I guess it's changed the way I look. I mean, every person once was a young person. Like I think we sometimes forget that youth, we all experience youth at some point. We all look young. And I think the only thing that doesn't change is people's eyes. Like people's eyes always will look like their actual eyeballs. I'm talking about like the eyes. I've found myself as a result, I'm looking at people's eyes a lot more. And I'm wondering, particularly for much older people, I was at the supermarket the other day and it was last night, and a lovely thing happened. A lady said to me, I picked grapes off the shelf, and she said she would have been comfortably in her 80s. And she said to me, I think I might come around to your house later. They look lovely. About the grapes. And I sort of smiled and said, oh yeah, well there are some just there if you, there are some more just there. But I'm really disappointed what she was saying, was it? Yeah. Anyway, I found myself wondering about what she looked like as a young person and what her youth was like. And I don't know, it's just me looking old for the first time and realising I look a lot older for the first time in my life. It's just made me think a lot more about, I don't know, maybe it's made me more empathetic, or I'm not sure what it is in a few ways, but I certainly, that is my answer to the question. What do I see looking in the mirror right now? I see for the first time in my life an older person, and I'm not, this is my vulnerable bit, I guess, I'm not comfortable with it at the moment. I don't like it. I don't like what I look like, and I've never felt like that before. I mean, I guess as a kid, maybe we all feel a bit insecure about certain stuff, but at a certain age, I became quite comfortable with it. For the first time, I'm not comfortable again. I feel insecure. Not insecure is the right word, but just very wary of the fact that I just don't want to look like this.
How much of it do you think, because there's like the obvious mirror, which is the mirror which is just us in a room and we judge ourselves, but then there's like the more sort of not as literal mirror of other people and the way that other people talk about you or the way that you hear people talk about, that's sort of like a mirror of sorts because they're giving you a reflection of some sort.
It's all on me. That doesn't bother me because I'm used to, because I played cricket at a cricket club where everyone was literally like 5-10 years younger than me for a long time. People would always make jokes about how old I was. Didn't bother me in the slightest.
Well, you had an out. If someone said you're the old guy, but in your mind you're like, yeah, but I don't look it.
Yes. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But for some reason, that kid, in all seriousness, saying the old guy in our race, I kind of didn't mind. In fact, part of me was a bit proud. I was like, yeah, I'm old and I'm here, and that's a win for me.
And you beat him, didn't you? Did you?
We'll watch the video later. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. From memory, yeah.
Put it on Instagram.
Yeah, we should.
Is that why you've set up the projector and the speakers?
But then also, when that person said Hugh looks old, I went, oh. And I actually noticed it didn't bother me that much, really. Yeah. It really didn't. It's just, I think it's more a sadness around I miss being young. I miss being a young person. I miss the joys of youth, and life is a lot harder now with 3 kids and balancing everything you have to balance. And it's just this insecurity sort of popped up that, I've actually noticed myself I have a Garmin for as a watch, but for exercise, and it actually gives you biological age.
Oh, wow.
So it tells you how old you are biologically based on, all the measurements it takes about how fit you are. And
wow. So not like what your actual age is, but what you are.
No, it says biologically based on your resting heart rate, based on your blood oxygen levels, based on all this kind of stuff. And mine's 19, like it says. And so I look that up all the time at the moment. Like
19?
I know it's 19, but
mine would be about 60, I think.
No. But I find myself looking it up all the time. And that wasn't a flex to say to everyone. It's purely...
Age is a bit of a thing for you.
Yeah, it's just I've really started to... In fact, I've always used to enjoy the fact that it wasn't a thing for me. I used to like when people would say you're really old, and I'd just go, yeah, but I don't look at it. But I actually look at it now, and it's become a bit of an insecurity of mine.
Right.
And I find myself looking at other people my age. We've got our 25-year reunion coming up next year, and
that'll be fun for you.
But I've just found myself becoming very aware of, I guess, the whole aging process, how it affects other people, how it's affecting me. And it's just this totally new thing for me, which has really just popped up in the last few months. I mean, I know it's such an obvious thing to say, and some people are going, yeah, you're 42, like that just happens. But I don't know if other people have gone through insecurities with it. I wonder if it's more of a female thing because women are used to being told how beautiful they are, and maybe their identity is a bit more tied up in what they look like, or maybe it's the same for men and women, but men just would never, ever admit it or say it or talk about it because it's not really a masculine thing to say. I don't know.
It's not as much of it's not as part of the narrative, generally speaking, for men.
Yeah,
probably.
I don't think so. Yeah. But it's definitely an insecurity that I'm going through at the moment. And it's funny, like the other 2 cards, when did you last cry and who do you think about a lot from your past? I've got quick answers for those 2, but yeah, that is something it's weighing on me quite heavily at the moment.
Confusing you, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm finding it really confusing, definitely. Absolutely. The other night at the Amazon show, there was makeup because it was a TV show, and my manager said, "You look so young," and I looked into and I was like, "Wow, to me that's what I looked like 2 or 3 years ago." Like literally as yet little as 2 or 3 years. It's funny how it just happens like that. All of a sudden, you just look at yourself and go, "Shit, I look older now, and I don't love it." In fact, I'm really uncomfortable with it.
There's definitely I mean, I think what you're speaking to is not what occurred in my mind, but there's obviously there's a general dialogue about aging being a negative thing as opposed to a positive thing. And I don't think that's what you're saying, but I'm always struck by the idea that like it's what an honor it is to look older because it like shows that it's like showing how much you've lived and what you've experienced and all that kind of stuff, and what an honor it is to be able to age.
Which is what I think intellectually from an academic point of view. But
I don't think that's what you're saying either, because you're more mourning the past, not it sounds to me like you're more rather than the physical thing is a reminder that you won't get your youth again, as opposed to worried about being less attractive.
Yeah, it's not so much that. I certainly don't worry about that, but I'd much prefer to look like I did 3 years ago, 4 years ago. That's what, so
Okay.
maybe there is a bit of that as well.
This is maybe like an obvious question that's kind of, it's maybe hard to answer, but if you did look like you looked 3 years ago or 5 years ago or 10 years ago, like how do you think that would change your day to day?
It wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah, well,
It's like maybe self-esteem, or it's a great question. It wouldn't change a thing, would it?
well, you're certainly running faster now
Yeah.
than you were,
Yeah. I don't know.
even though you were more aerodynamic then.
Penny took a photo of me after, it was like my favourite race I've ever done, and I did my best ever time, and I just felt I was like on top of the world, and Penny took a photo straight after it, and I looked at it and I was like, what the hell? How can someone, that doesn't work in my, I look really old there. I can't, in my head in that moment, I felt 18 years old, and I felt so, I genuinely felt like I look young and fit and fast. When I saw the photo, I was like, that is not what I still, mentally, if I picture myself, I still picture myself as being younger, but then I see myself every single time I get a bit of a shock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I haven't adjusted, my brain hasn't adjusted to what I actually look like. It's a bit like, this is a bit weird, but I still hear my voice as before it broke. I don't hear it as being deep. What? I still.
Jeez, you really are trusting this Garmin read, aren't you? 19.
No, I still, whenever I hear my voice, I go, geez, that's a deep voice. But I hear it as I still hear it as like a 10-year-old. I don't hear it any different.
I actually kind of relate to that. I do think that sometimes I hear recordings of myself speaking. I'm like, God, yeah, there's a very low voice. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think maybe I'm just slow to catch up with reality. I think I hear what I want to hear. I see what I want to see. But anyway, I don't know. I'm sure this will be relatable to people out there.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And this is not me saying aging's a bad thing at all. It's just happening to, it's really happening to me right now.
Yeah.
And I'm still working out.
You're in a transitional phase.
Yeah, and I guess I'm trying to accept it. I always thought I'd be able to accept it so easily. I always thought I'd be totally fine with it. I'd be like, yeah, I don't care. I never care what I look like, so this won't be a problem. But for some reason, this has got me at the moment. And
well, I mean, there's an enormous industry out there for people who are trying to reverse aging or stop the appeal of how you look.
Yeah.
Definitely, like it's a big thing for people for sure.
It's expensive too.
Very expensive. Yeah, yeah. But I think absolutely. Like I don't think I've necessarily hit that point, but I've got.
You look exactly the same as you did when I first saw you on TV.
No. Go on though. but I've definitely got other things in my life where I feel like, oh, okay, that's happening now.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting more grey hairs, all those sorts of things. Like those things happen. You're like, oh, well, that's probably going to be, and you sort of reach a point where you go like, you face a choice. Like, okay, do I start? It was like the hair, like losing hair. It's like there's a point where you're like, okay, am I now going to be the person who starts taking tablets? Because if once I start, then that's it. Like if I ever stop, it's going to be a fucking shock for everyone because it's going to reveal the true me. So it's like even just that, like I have that in the back of my head a fair bit because I used to think when I was younger, if I ever lose my hair, I don't think I'll care. I'll just lose it and I'll age gracefully and I'll.
But when it happens,
like I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready to be that guy yet. Let's just put it off for a bit longer. So I totally get it. I totally get
So I hope that if you're going through this as well at the moment and all of a sudden you think like, gosh, I actually look old, I feel like I look old and I'm not comfortable with it, I guess I hope someone else talking about it makes you feel like it's a bit more normal.
It's also probably a good reminder to think about how we talk to people and the way that we compliment people or the comments that we make to other people about like appearance.
It has single-handedly changed the way I speak to Elsie now. Elsie's got this book and the book is Girls Are Pretty. That's the title of the book, but it's ... So you turn the page and it says, girls are pretty bold, girls are pretty clever, girls are pretty fast, girls are pretty creative.
Oh, that's great.
It's her favourite book. And it's made me, and I find myself when she'll like she'll get ready for ballet on the weekends and she'll come out in a ballet dress with her hair up and she'll go, Daddy, what do you think? And I say to her like, you look really clever. you look so bold. It's just this like, then Penny will laugh and I'm like, I don't know, I'm trying not to comment on her looks right now because I'm in trouble with this right now. How's she going to go with her dad always telling her she's beautiful? So it's definitely changed my relationship and the way I interact with Elsie.
What are some other options, actually? It's a good thing to think about.
I've been saying stuff like, you look ready to dance.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's good.
But it's hard not to because she does look so gorgeous and I just wanted to know that.
Yeah.
But then this is what, anyway, it's just something I'm going through and I hope I hope hearing this helps. I don't know who needs to hear it right now, but if you do, I hope it's helped in some way.
Well, hopefully the aging stops for you soon. You can put this behind you.
We'll fix this one.
Well, thanks, Hugh. Thanks for sharing.
No worries.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
If this episode has been triggering for you, we strongly recommend Lifeline on 131114. The Imperfects is hosted and co-produced by Hugh van Cuylenburg, Brian Shelton and Josh van Cuylenburg. This episode was produced by Bridget Northeast, filmed by Andy Poole and edited by George Martin. A special thanks to Dr. M for her expertise and guidance. We'd also like to thank the Resilience Project for their ongoing support.